There exists within you at this very moment a wealth so vast, so infinite that no bank vault could contain it, no currency could measure it, and no external circumstance could diminish it. Yet, for most of your life, you have been conditioned to believe that abundance lies somewhere outside yourself, in the next promotion, the next relationship, the next achievement. This fundamental misunderstanding creates what we might call the great illusion, the belief that you are separate from the source of all wealth, all creativity, all joy. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? Perhaps you see a body with certain limitations, a mind with particular thoughts, a person with specific circumstances. But this reflection shows you only the surface of an ocean whose depths are immeasurable. The ancient Vedic seers understood this truth thousands of years ago when they declared Tattvam Asi, thou art that. You are not separate from the creative force that spins galaxies into existence and causes flowers to bloom. You are not disconnected from the intelligence that coordinates the dance of atoms in your cells or the rhythm of your heartbeat. Take a moment now to place your hand on your chest and feel your heart beating. This rhythm that sustains your life operates without your conscious control, guided by an intelligence far more sophisticated than any computer ever created. Your body is producing millions of new cells each moment. Your immune system is distinguishing friend from foe with precision that would make the most advanced security systems seem primitive, and your digestive system is transforming matter into energy with an efficiency that defies our greatest technological achievements. All of this is happening within you, as you, through you, right now. Yet somewhere along the way you learn to identify yourself as separate from this magnificent intelligence. You learned to see yourself as limited, lacking, in need of something external to complete you. This learned separation is like a wave that has forgotten it is the ocean, or a ray of sunlight that believes it is disconnected from the sun. The wave is never separate from the ocean. It is the ocean expressing itself as wave. The ray is never apart from the sun. It is the sun manifesting as light. Consider for a moment the nature of your breath. Right now, take 3 conscious breaths, feeling the air enter your nostrils, fill your lungs, and then release naturally. Notice how breath connects you to the atmosphere that surrounds the entire planet. The oxygen you just breathed was once part of ancient forests, was once exhaled by creatures that lived millions of years ago, was once locked in ice caps and released by warming temperatures. Your breath links you to the entire history of life on this planet. How then can you be separate? This illusion of separation creates what we experience as scarcity. When you believe you are isolated from the source, you naturally feel the need to compete, to accumulate, to protect what little you think you have. You operate from a consciousness of lack, always seeking to fill a void that cannot be filled from the outside. You stop trying to make things happen and start letting things happen through you. This is not passivity. It is the most powerful form of action, because it is action that arises from alignment with the intelligence that creates and sustains all of life. This alignment manifests as what we might call effortless flow, a way of living where abundance becomes as natural as breathing. You stop struggling to create abundance and instead become a clear channel through which abundance expresses itself. Your work becomes play, your challenges become opportunities, your relationships become celebrations of shared consciousness. You discover that abundance is not something you have, but something you are. In this state of flow, synchronicities become commonplace. The right people appear at the right time. Opportunities open effortlessly. Resources flow to you in unexpected ways. This is not magic. It is the natural result of living in harmony with the organizing principles of the universe. When your individual will aligns with the cosmic will, when your personal desires harmonize with the evolutionary impulse of consciousness itself, the entire universe conspires to support your highest unfolding. You begin to see that your life is not a series of random events, but a perfect unfolding of consciousness, exploring itself through the unique perspective that you provide. Every person you meet, every experience you have, every choice you make is part of a vast, intelligent design that is constantly evolving toward greater complexity, beauty, and love. You are not separate from this design. You are this design, knowing itself through your individual awareness. This recognition transforms not only your relationship to abundance, but your understanding of service and contribution. When you know yourself as consciousness itself, you naturally want to share the gifts you have discovered with others. Your abundance becomes a gift to the world. Your peace becomes a healing presence. Your joy becomes an invitation for others to remember their own true nature. You realize that your individual awakening is not separate from the awakening of all humanity. They are one movement of consciousness, discovering its own infinite nature. Living this truth is perhaps the greatest abundance of all, the abundance of purpose, of connection, of love, of meaning. When you know why you are here, when you feel your life making a difference, when you experience yourself as both unique and united with all of life, you have discovered the wealth that can never be taken away from you. The journey we have explored together points to a simple but profound truth. Your true nature is not poverty or limitation, but limitless wealth, expressing itself in countless forms. This wealth is not something you must achieve or acquire. It is something you must remember and allow. It is not somewhere else waiting for you to find it. It is here now as the very consciousness that is reading these words. The invitation is not to believe this truth, but to test it in the laboratory of your own experience. Begin each day by remembering that you are not a separate individual struggling to survive in a hostile world, but the infinite creativity of the universe expressing itself through the particular form of your life. Notice how this shift in identity changes everything: your relationships, your work, your health, your sense of purpose, your experience of abundance. You have access to the same creative force that brings galaxies into existence and causes flowers to bloom. You are not separate from the field of infinite potential that is the source of all abundance. The only question is whether you will remember this truth and live from it, or continue to dream the dream of separation and scarcity. The choice is always yours, and it is always available in this moment. This moment is your point of power, your gateway to transformation, your access to the infinite wealth that is your birthright as consciousness itself. You need not wait for permission, for better circumstances, or for someone else to show you the way. The path to abundance begins with the recognition that you are not on the path. You are the path. You are the destination. You are the very abundance you seek. This is not philosophy or poetry, but the deepest truth of your existence. You are limitless wealth, discovering itself through the magnificent adventure of your human life. But what if this void is simply the space where you have forgotten your true nature? What if scarcity is not a condition of reality, but a condition of awareness? The mystics of every tradition have pointed to this same truth. You are not a drop in the ocean of existence. You are the ocean expressing itself as a drop. When you truly understand this, the question is no longer how to acquire abundance, but how to remove the barriers to recognizing the abundance that is already your essential nature. The shift from seeking to recognizing, from pursuing to allowing, from having to being, this is the beginning of authentic transformation. Modern science is now confirming what these ancient wisdom traditions always knew. Quantum physics reveals that at the most fundamental level of reality, there are no separate objects, only relationships within an interconnected field of energy and information. The boundaries you perceive between yourself and the world around you exist only at the level of everyday perception, but not at the level of quantum reality. At the quantum level, you are not separate from anything or anyone. You are part of an infinite web of consciousness expressing itself in countless forms. The field of quantum mechanics shows us that the very act of observation changes what is being observed. Reality at its deepest level is not fixed and predetermined, but fluid and responsive to consciousness itself. This means that you are not a passive victim of circumstances, but an active participant in the creation of your experience. The universe is not something happening to you, it is something happening through you and as you. Consider the profound implications of this understanding. If you are not separate from the field of pure potentiality that underlies all existence, then you have access to the same creative force that brings galaxies into being. If consciousness plays a fundamental role in shaping reality, then your awareness, your attention, your intention become powerful tools of transformation. The question becomes not whether you have the power to create abundance in your life, but whether you are willing to remember and claim that power. This field of pure potentiality exists in the gaps between your thoughts, in the silence between the notes of music, in the space between your heartbeats. It is always present, always available, always responsive to consciousness. When you learn to rest your attention in this field, you begin to experience yourself not as a limited individual struggling to survive in a hostile world, but as the infinite creativity of the universe expressing itself in the particular form that you call your life. Physicists have discovered that the quantum field contains virtually infinite energy. The amount of energy in a single cubic centimeter of empty space is greater than all the energy of all the matter in the observable universe. This suggests that what appears to be emptiness is actually fullness beyond measure. What appears to be nothing is actually everything in potential form. And you are not separate from this field of infinite potential. You are this field knowing itself through the unique perspective of your individual awareness. The implications are staggering. If you are not separate from the field of infinite potential, then limitation is not your natural state. Unlimited potential is. Scarcity is not your inheritance. Abundance is. Lack is not your reality. Wholeness is. The only question is whether you are willing to shift your identity from the limited self that seems to exist in time and space to the unlimited self that is the very source of time and space. When you begin to glimpse this truth, even for a moment, something shifts in your entire experience of life. You stop looking outside yourself for validation, for security, for happiness. You stop believing that your worth depends on external achievements or acquisitions. You begin to recognize that what you have been seeking in the world has been present within you all along, waiting not to be created, but to be uncovered. The consciousness that is reading these words right now is the same consciousness that beats your heart, grows your hair, heals your wounds, and dreams your dreams. It is the same consciousness that moves the stars in their courses and guides the migration of birds across vast distances. There is only one consciousness, appearing as the many, expressing itself as the infinite diversity of life. You are not a separate fragment of consciousness. You are consciousness itself, aware of itself through the window of your individual experience. This consciousness is not produced by your brain, though it expresses through your brain. It is not contained within your body, though it animates your body. It is not limited by your thoughts. though it is aware of your thoughts. This consciousness is the ground of all being, the source of all creativity, the root of all abunda. Hence, it is what you are before you think about who you are. It is what remains when all else changes. It is your true nature, eternal and infinite. To recognize this truth is not to transcend the world, but to transform your relationship with the world. When you know yourself as consciousness itself, you no longer experience life as something that happens to you, but as something that happens through you. You become a conscious collaborator in the ongoing creation of reality. You discover that abundance is not something you must pursue, but something you must allow. You realize that your true nature is not poverty or limitation, but limitless wealth expressing itself in countless forms. When you truly understand your relationship to the field of infinite potential, you begin to see your physical body in an entirely new light. This body that you carry through the world is not a separate object moving through space. It is the universe expressing itself in localized form. Every cell in your body is a conscious participant in the dance of creation. Every organ a unique expression of cosmic intelligence. Every breath a conversation between your individual awareness and the collective consciousness of all life. Modern medicine often treats the body as a machine, a collection of parts that can break down and need repair. But what if your body is actually more like a river, a dynamic flow of energy and information that appears solid only because of the speed at which it changes? Every atom in your body was once part of a star. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your DNA, all of it was forged in the nuclear furnaces of distant suns and scattered across the cosmos when those stars completed their life cycle. You are quite literally made of stardust, and that stardust has organized itself into the magnificent complexity that experiences itself as you. Consider the miraculous intelligence that governs your physical form. Right now, as you sit or stand wherever you are, your body is performing approximately 100,000 chemical reactions per second in every single cell. Your heart is beating roughly 70 times per minute, pumping blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels, delivering nutrients and oxygen to trillions of cells, with a precision that would make the most sophisticated delivery system seem primitive by comparison. Your nervous system is processing millions of bits of sensory information, filtering what is relevant, creating your subjective experience of this moment. None of this requires your conscious effort. The intelligence that orchestrates these countless processes operates from a level of awareness far beyond the thinking mind. This is the same intelligence that knows how to heal a cut on your finger, how to grow a baby from a single fertilized cell, how to maintain your body temperature within a narrow range regardless of external conditions. This intelligence is not separate from you, it is what you are at the deepest level of your being. Take a moment now to feel this intelligence at work within you. Place one hand on your chest and one on your abdomen. Feel your breath naturally rising and falling. Notice how your body breathes you rather than you breathing your body. Feel the subtle sensations throughout your form, perhaps warmth, tingling, aliveness. These sensations are expressions of the life force that animates your physical form. They are evidence of the consciousness that has organized itself as your body, creating a localized experience of the infinite field of awareness. When you begin to experience your body as consciousness in motion rather than as a dense, separate object, your relationship to physical well-being transforms completely. Instead of trying to fix or control your body, you learn to listen to its wisdom. Instead of treating symptoms, you address the field of consciousness from which symptoms arise. You understand that your body is not the source of your limitations, but the means through which unlimited consciousness experiences the joy of physical existence. This shift in understanding has profound implications for abundance. When you know your body as an expression of infinite intelligence, you naturally trust its ability to regenerate, to heal, to thrive. You stop operating from fear about aging, illness, or physical limitation, and instead align with the body's inherent tendency toward wholeness and vitality. This alignment itself becomes a form of wealth, the wealth of vibrant health, boundless energy, and the deep satisfaction of being fully alive in physical form. Your emotions, too, are not separate from this field of consciousness, but rather its dynamic expression in response to your thoughts, beliefs, and experiences. Every emotion you feel is fundamentally a movement of energy, a vibration within the field of your awareness. Joy vibrates at a different frequency than sorrow. Love resonates differently than fear. Gratitude has a distinct energetic signature from resentment. These are not merely metaphors, they are measurable scientific realities. The Institute of HeartMath has documented how different emotional states create distinct patterns in your heart rhythm, which in turn influence every system in your body. When you feel appreciation, your heart rhythm becomes coherent and harmonious, sending signals to your brain that enhance clarity, creativity, and decision-making. When you experience frustration or anxiety, your heart rhythm becomes erratic, creating physiological stress that impairs your ability to think clearly and act effectively. Understanding emotions as vibrational frequencies means recognizing that your emotional state is not just a psychological phenomenon, but an energetic force that influences your capacity to attract and create abundance in your life. When you consistently vibrate at the frequency of gratitude, appreciation, and joy, you align yourself with the creative forces of the universe. When you habitually resonate with fear, anger, or resentment, you create energetic resistance to the natural flow of abundance. This is not about positive thinking or pretending to feel something you do not feel. It is about understanding the energetic nature of emotional experience and learning to work consciously with these frequencies. Every emotion you experience is valid and contains important information. Fear alerts you to potential danger. Anger signals that boundaries have been crossed. Sadness indicates the need for healing and release. The key is not to suppress these emotions, but to feel them fully and then consciously choose the emotional frequency from which you want to create your life. Notice now what emotions are present in your awareness. Without judging them as good or bad, simply observe them as energy in motion. Where do you feel these emotions in your body? What is their texture, their temperature, their rhythm? Breathe into whatever you discover, allowing the emotion to move through you rather than getting stuck in resistance. As you breathe, notice how the emotion naturally transforms, revealing itself as a temporary wave in the ocean of your awareness. The ancient tradition of yoga understood emotions as modifications of consciousness, temporary disturbances in the field of pure awareness. Like waves on the ocean, emotions arise and subside, but they never change the fundamental nature of the ocean itself. You are not your emotions any more than the ocean is its waves. You are the consciousness in which emotions appear, the awareness that witnesses their arising and passing away. When you establish yourself in this witnessing awareness, you gain the power to choose your emotional responses rather than being unconsciously driven by them. You recognize that you always have the option to shift from fear to love, from scarcity to abundance, from contraction to expansion. This choice is perhaps the most powerful tool you have for creating the life you truly want to live. The emotional frequency you choose to embody moment by moment becomes the template from which your external experience is created. This is not wishful thinking, but a practical understanding of how consciousness shapes reality. When you consistently embody the emotions of abundance, gratitude, appreciation, joy, love, you create an energetic field that naturally attracts experiences that match these frequencies. When you habitually operate from the emotions of scarcity, fear, worry, resentment, lack, you unconsciously create conditions that reflect these limiting states. This brings us to perhaps the most profound discovery of modern quantum physics, the observer effect. At the quantum level, the act of observation literally determines what becomes real. Before a quantum system is observed, it exists in what physicists call superposition, a state of infinite possibilities existing simultaneously. Only when consciousness observes the system does it collapse from infinite potential into a single definite reality. You are not separate from this process, you are this process. Every moment of your life, your consciousness is collapsing infinite possibilities into specific experiences. The quality of your attention, the focus of your awareness, the frequency of your emotional state, all of these determine which possible ites from the quantum field become your lived reality. Consider the implications of this understanding. You are not a passive victim of circumstances beyond your control. You are an active creator, constantly choosing from infinite possibilities through the focus of your attention and the quality of your consciousness. The universe is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you, as you, in response to the consciousness you bring to each moment. This does not mean you can simply think your way to abundance or manifest anything you want through the power of positive thinking. True creation requires alignment between all levels of your being. Your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions must all resonate at the frequency of what you wish to experience. It requires releasing attachment to specific outcomes and trusting the intelligence of the universe to deliver what serves your highest good. Take a few moments now to experiment with this creative power. Bring to mind something you would love to experience in your life, perhaps greater financial freedom, a deeper sense of purpose, more loving relationships, or vibrant health. Rather than focusing on the external circumstances, feel into the emotional quality of already having this experience. How would it feel in your body to live from this reality? What emotions would you naturally experience? Allow yourself to rest in these feelings for several breaths, not as fantasy, but as a preview of a possible future that you are helping to create through the quality of your present awareness. This is not about forcing or striving, but about aligning with the natural creative principle that is always operating through you. When you understand yourself as consciousness rather than as a separate individual, you recognize that you have access to the same creative force that brings stars into existence and guides the evolution of galaxies. The only question is whether you will use this force consciously or unconsciously, deliberately or by default. The journey from seeking abundance to receiving it begins with a fundamental shift in your relationship to the act of receiving itself. Most people have been conditioned to believe that receiving is somehow selfish, that taking from the universe diminishes what is available to others. But this belief arises from a consciousness of scarcity, from the illusion that there is a limited supply of good things available. When you understand the infinite nature of consciousness, you realize that receiving is actually a sacred act of alignment with the natural flow of the universe. The universe is constantly giving. The sun gives light and warmth. The earth gives nourishment. The air gives breath. Water gives life. This giving is not an effort or sacrifice. It is the natural expression of abundance recognizing itself. When you truly receive what is being offered in each moment, you participate in this cosmic circulation of energy. Your receiving allows the universe to experience the joy of giving through you. Learning to receive begins with recognizing how much you are already being given. Right now you are receiving light from the Su, and that traveled 93 million miles to reach you. You are receiving oxygen from plants that transform carbon dioxide into the breath of life. You are receiving the support of the earth beneath you, the protection of the atmosphere around you, the nourishment that became your body through countless acts of transformation in the natural world. Take 5 conscious breaths now, and with each inhale, silently say, I receive. Feel yourself receiving not just air, but the gift of life itself. Notice any resistance that arises, perhaps thoughts that you do not deserve to receive, or that receiving makes you dependent, or that you should be giving instead of receiving. Simply observe these thoughts without judgment, recognizing them as learned patterns that have nothing to do with your true nature. The practice of infinite receiving involves cultivating what the ancient traditions called prasada buddhi, the attitude of grace. This is the recognition that everything in your life is a gift, even the challenges that serve your growth and awakening. When you live with prasada buddhi, you stop taking things for granted and begin to see the extraordinary generosity that surrounds you at every moment. This shift in perception naturally opens you to receive even more abundantly. Meditation becomes a powerful tool for developing your capacity to receive. In stillness, you learn to receive the gift of peace that is always present beneath the surface activity of your mind. You discover how to receive insights and guidance from the deeper intelligence that operates beyond the level of thinking. You develop the ability to receive healing energy that flows naturally when you stop trying to control and fix everything through mental effort. Set aside time each day to sit quietly and practice pure receiving. Begin with your breath, allowing it to come and go naturally without any effort on your part. Then expand your awareness to receive whatever sounds are present, not judging them as pleasant or unpleasant, but simply receiving them as part of the symphony of existence. Notice any sensations in your body, any emotions in your heart, any thoughts in your mind, receiving them all with equal openness and acceptance. As you develop this capacity for receptivity in meditation, you begin to notice opportunities for receiving that you previously overlooked in your daily life. A smile from a stranger becomes a gift of connection. A moment of beauty in nature becomes nourishment for your soul. A challenge becomes an opportunity for growth and strength. You start to see that the universe is constantly offering you exactly what you need for your highest unfolding, if only you have the eyes to see and the heart to receive. Yet for many people, the greatest barrier to receiving abundance is not external circumstances, but internal wounds related to worthiness and scarcity. These wounds often have deep roots, extending back through childhood experiences and even ancestral patterns that have been passed down through generations. Healing these wounds is not about analyzing them endlessly, but about bringing the light of consciousness to the places where you have forgotten your true nature. The wound of unworthiness whispers that you do not deserve abundance, that you are somehow flawed or lacking in comparison to others. This wound creates a constant sense of having to prove yourself, to earn love and acceptance through achievement and performance. But worthiness is not something you can earn or lose. It is the very foundation of your existence. You are worthy of abundance, not because of what you have done or accomplished, but because you are a unique expression of the one consciousness that is the source of all abundance. The wound of scarcity tells you that there is not enough to go around, that life is a competition where someone else's gain necessarily means your loss. This wound creates fear, hoarding, and the belief that you must struggle and fight for your share of limited resources. But scarcity exists only in the mind that has forgotten its connection to the infinite source. When you remember that you are not separate from the field of unlimited potential, scarcity becomes impossible. These wounds are healed not through struggle or effort, but through the gentle application of loving awareness. When old patterns of unworthiness or scarcity arise, you do not need to fight them or fix them. You simply need to hold them in the light of your present awareness, like a loving parent comforting a frightened child. The wound is not who you are, it is simply a temporary forgetting of who you are. Practice this now by bringing to mind an area of your life where you feel limited or lacking. Notice what emotions arise, perhaps fear, sadness, anger, or shame. Rather than trying to change these emotions, simply breathe with them and offer them the same loving acceptance you would give to a dear friend who is suffering. Silently say to these emotions, I see you, I accept you, and I love you. Notice how this attitude of compassion naturally begins to dissolve the grip of the limiting pattern. The deepest healing occurs when you realize that even your wounds have served a purpose in your journey toward awakening. Every experience of limitation has taught you something about the nature of freedom. Every encounter with scarcity has prepared you to appreciate abundance. Every moment of feeling unworthy has strengthened your capacity to recognize your inherent worth. Nothing in your life has been a mistake. Everything has been part of your soul's curriculum for remembering its true nature. This understanding allows you to release the stories you have told yourself about why you cannot have abundance. These stories about your past, your circumstances, your limitations are simply outdated software running in the computer of your consciousness. They seemed real when you believed you were separate from the source of abundance, but they lose their power when you remember your true identity as consciousness itself. Living from this remembrance means establishing yourself in what the mystics call the eternal now, the timeless present moment that is the only place where creation actually occurs. The past exists only as memory, the future only as imagination, but life happens now. Abundance happens now, healing happens now, transformation happens now. When you learn to rest your attention fully in the present moment, you discover that this moment always contains everything you need. The mind has been trained to live in time, constantly reviewing the past or projecting into the future. But consciousness exists in the eternal now, in the space between thoughts, in the gap between heartbeats, in the silence between the notes of music. When you anchor your awareness in this eternal now, you access a dimension of experience where limitations dissolve and infinite possibilities become available. Take a moment to rest completely in this present moment. Let go of any concern about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. Feel your feet on the ground, your breath moving naturally, your heart beating steadily. Notice that in this moment you lack nothing. In this moment you are complete. In this moment you are whole. This is not a temporary state that you can lose. This is your natural condition, temporarily obscured by the habit of living in time rather than presence. When you live from the infinite now, your actions naturally align with the creative flow of the universe. You stop forcing and start flowing. You stop pushing and start allowing.